Hello, friends. Welcome to episode 89 of Shadow and Flame of Magic, the podcast. And today we're going to review Realm of X issue 4. So let's get to it. Once again, thank you, Francisco, for providing the theme song to the podcast. Appreciate it. And you. And this is Realm of X, the final issue of this mini series, written by Torin Gorbeck, artist Diagnos Neves, and Rafael Pimentel, and who are back from issue 2. I suspect it's because this issue was a lot of details that they needed help with the third issue. And color artist is Rain Bernardo and Berto Bunkers Dono Savez Almera. And letter VC Clayton Cowles. And designed by Tom Muir and Jay Bullen. And cover by Stephanie Hansa was pretty nice. It's a Saturnine holding an hourglass with dust and magic in the top, which is very clever use of dust as she being dust, drowns Meryl, Danny, and Typhoid Mary. And then the issue finally opens up with Asgard taking note of what city is it? Well, let's read the captions. In Asgard, Seth sees all, every moment of every life. I guess Seth is the new Heimdall. She sees the joy, the grief, the love, the betrayals. But it is what the all-seer did not see that strikes fear in her heart. It takes extraordinary powers to hide from Seth's sight. Saturnine's extraordinary, after all. But on Chris's jinx, her magic fails. The invisible walls that were hiding Vanaheim, there we go, I knew it was somewhere here, crumble, and Sif could see the realm once more. And so she calls her king when she sees the fury of the witch, Saturnine being the witch, and her king being Thor. And she feels her heart fall when she sees the one they call magic summon powers best left alone, because she knows this means. And she tells Thor that the war is about amongst them. The cast is Magik, Mirage, Typhoid Mary, Dusk, Marrow, Curse, and Saturnine. And the handy recap page, I don't know, the caption says, Hear the war horns blare. And then it's issue 4, The Promised Day. So, does the recap get its own title? The promised day of prophecy has arrived to Vanaheim and forced Saturnine's hand. All previous attempts to bring forth a bloodthirsty conquering army have failed because she lacks the power to keep the portals open long enough for more than a handful of ships and soldiers to come through. But she can harness Curse's power for long enough to unlock an ancient well of Vanaheim power. It should be enough to turn the tides, even if it costs Curse's life. The problem is that after Magik's solo infiltration mission to find Curse in the Emberstone Citadel, Curse is now cognizant of Saturnine's true reasons for keeping her close. In response, Saturnine threw Magik off the Citadel's tallest spire, and even with her mutant powers repressed, Magik has more than one trick up her sleeve. Meanwhile, in a fit of anger, Curse has disabled all the Saturnine's protective cloaking around the Citadel, leaving them temporarily defenseless. The time for sharpening blades is over. Now it's time for war. The Emberson Citadel, Vanaheim. Saturnine's yelling at Curse, and Curse just feels horrible and is crying. She was led to believe that all of her friends didn't care about her and Saturnine was her only savior. Then it turns out Saturnine's been lying the whole time trying to use her. So, that's a lot to process. And I wish we knew the age of Saturnine. Sometimes she looks like she's 9, sometimes she's maybe 14. I don't know. Saturnine's words cut deep, but there is another sound in the room, a whisper. Oh, her words were like, oh, and you have no friends, Curse. Who would want to be your friend? In your life, you can either be loved or be useful. You are quite unlovable, but I'm giving you a chance to do something that matters, something that will change the universe. The whisper turns into a voice, and you see to the side, it was Dust doing a little tick, 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 tick onto the glass because she's trapped inside a vase, and that seems cruel. If your powers are to be take the form of dust, then one of your main concerns has to be being vacuumed up or put into a vase. No, I'm more of a vase guy. And she knows it. She knows her. And Dust tells her to run. And so Dust is out of the glass. She is shredding Saturnine. Curse takes off. Vanaheim is magically bankrupt. The only power left to use is that of suffering. It is dark magic. She can smell it, touch it, as we catch up with Ilyana. Like a tangible thing. It would be easy to lose oneself in this, all this anger and pain. And I've been saying since this announced, like, oh, the reason Danny and Ilyana have to be in this title is because they were with the other mutants. It was to solve that problem immediately. But the way you stop that from happening is putting them into a different title by themselves or with a small group of people. But to stop them from fixing that problem, you got to do something with them. For this series, Danny's been distracted looking for Curse and fighting, would-be bandits. And Ilyana has had no powers, which is weird as she still has the Soul Sword. Actually, I guess maybe she hasn't had the use of the Soul Sword, but she hasn't had her magic abilities, but she still has all that fighting training. But, I guess the confidence was in her way. All this anger and pain, but in the choir of misery, one voice outshines all. And Ilyana hears Curse. And we see Saturnine rebuffing Dust, and Dust takes off. And Saturnine's trying to tap into all the power she's been able to unleash. We get a data page, or a diary entry by Tasana. We have tried everything to return the power source to Vanaheim, to no avail. The failure burns in my heart. The patience of our queen has come to an end. She has decided to draw power from the realm, from Vanaheim itself. The queen seems to believe that standing on dying ground might be enough to convince Curse to act, to use her strange power to bring us the source. But only a fool would rely on selfness of a child, especially that child. In my heart I grieve. I grieve for the Vanir, too stubborn to accept what Saturnine offers. I grieve for the beauty of the world and the innocence that walks upon it. I grieve for the trees that will burn and the mountains that will crumble. But I have seen Saturnine's vision. I know her heart. I know the sacrifice will be worth it in the end. All great empires are built on blood and ash. In a few years, when our queen rules Vanaheim as the center to be joined universes as it was always meant to be, and when knowledge and resources are traded across the dimensions and time, we be dwell on the loss of today, but for now, war is upon us. May Saturnine have mercy on their souls. Tasana, diary entry 231. So if that's daily, then she's barely writing a diary entry. It's not even a year. The Vanir front, seconds before, it was a stolen moment. And we see Dust has caught up with Danny and Meryl as they're leading some guards. Vonos finds Typhoid Mary. There is no war around them. There is no war, no battle, no prophecy. Only his touch on her lips. And he kisses her before they head out, which I can only imagine when she reunites with her husband Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin. He's going to understand that. Yeah, you thought you were forever abandoned on this, Asgardian realm. Like it's cool, but not cool. It's understandable because it's also Wilson Fisk. Like, sure. Like he plays the long game. And when the world returns, it bleeds. Heck, she came in to say, oh yeah, well, I mean, I did it so that he would protect me. He's like, oh yeah, protection. Done. I use money, you use, what you use. Life is drained from the world. And we see a portal opening up and ships coming through. And they look like science fiction ships instead of, I don't know, Asgardian ships. Like they're very slick. The forest screams as the trees die. The wind whimpers and fate laughs. And the ladies start battling. The source glitters in silence, and the only sound in the room is that of melting flesh. As we see the Saturnine guards melting, it is mesmerizing. There, yet not there at all. And it turns out it was Magik who melted those dudes, because she's got a job to do. Magik, you came back. Of course, I was never going to leave you as Saturnine. I'm so sorry. Yuck, I got soldier on me. We can take care of that. Wait, what is that? I think it's what she wants from me. It's like a power thing. It's hidden in another dimension, is kind of cool, I have to admit, but I don't know what I'm supposed to do. She thinks you can jinx it back to the realm, but if it's hidden for a reason. Let's get out of here. And Magic looks awesome here. She has that purple cloak, or maybe just darkish, cloak. She has a sword, but I imagine it's not her soul sword. She has the garb of the realm, but it's like a yellow tunic and a giant belt. So, New Mutant colors represent. Saturday Night wants to slaughter. She got a battle instead. Saturday Night watches the fight with unease. It's a beautiful like splash page of just everyone fighting on the fields. Typhoid Mary is very much enjoying herself. Saturday Night is living through the prophecy. Every step she takes feels predetermined. She resents it, which I imagine she would for being from other world where she's the one putting motions in order, but now she's the one feeling the fates wide will. The prophesized event will happen soon. The moment that changes everything. And one of the guards is like asking her if she's ready to do what's next. She still believes curse is the key to it all. Saturday must either change the child's mind or kill her. And so they're trying to bring in more troops. As death rains from above, Sora guides them through the battlefield, bringing them together. And Magik is now on the field and just blasting fools with her hand blasts. Curse lets out a curse. Oh no, did you forget how to use your muscles? And Danny's happy to see her friends are back and happier to see Magik is back to full strength. She's like, how? Are you okay? This is not my magic. This is wild and dark magic. Curse hears a whisper in the wind. Saturnine voice is sweet and lovely as she's trying to press her curse into being like, this all could be over. Just give me what I want. Curse cannot tell if it's real or not. And we see that Vonamos gets hurt, as well as a bunch of other dudes, but Typhoid Mary only cares about Vonamos. And I just go back up a panel to be like, wait, did he die? He's like, oh, I guess so. He was the one we saw with other shadow figures behind him also taking a blast. Ilyana's like, he's gone, Mary, he's gone. And she does not know what to do, and she cannot hear the enemy coming up behind her. While the Thor Odin's son sees the death of his allies, Fia Feridor sees the death of her home. It tears her heart to pieces. So now Asgard has taken note, and we are fixing things. And Curse does not recognize Thor, I guess, or doesn't appreciate anything. I appreciate him as, most do. She's like, the mercy of Asgard, ugh, kind of NPC. Like, who talks like that? NPC, what? Sif, use the Bifrost and get the children and wounded out of here. I'm not a child. This is the moment, the final seconds of the future, a desperate act to reach the child. Saturnine knows her time is running out, even if she's winning, even if her forces overwhelm those of Asgard and Vanaheim combined, she fears the twist of fate. As she orders the death of the child, her sweet words travel across the battlefield. A desperate act to reach the child. And Dust is protecting Curse, and now Marrow's protecting Curse, as it's pretty much a hot potato. Typhoid Mary's is like fire blasting people. Yes, Magik's like, Curse, Saturnine's trying to kill you. So pretty much wherever Curse is where the battle is. And we finally get a cool panel of all five ladies protecting Curse in the middle. Mera has two giant bones shaped swords. Swords made out of bones? You decide. Danny has her cool bow and arrow. Dust is using dust to shred people. Typhoid Mary's blasting people. And Magik's blasting people like a purple magic. So that's cool. And Ilyana says, if she stops Saturnine, new life will flourish here. The ancient trees are still holding on. The world's not dead yet. We can't give up, but there is no way to bring back what is lost. At the moment of prophecy arrives on the battlefield, Curse must make a choice, and so she does. Curse hurts, and Magik is pulled away, and the prophecy is fulfilled. And Curse says, wouldn't it be cool if Magik got what that power-hungry witch wants? And Curse either uses her power who she directed at gets hurt or she gets hurt. And I don't know if it's 50-50 or what. But she has a lot of pain, and she is in the Citadel. The tower shatters around her. It does not hurt her. Through dimensions and time, the source returns to Ember Stone, and Magik gets what Saturnine wants. She is the power. She is an ocean, a realm, a universe. And we see that she creates a pentagon around her, and then a circle around that. The ancient source pulses through her, and it would be so easy to forget that she is also Magik. But she remembers Curse. Oh, these are great looking pages. And Curse hurts, and then she remembers everything. She heals the sky of a thought. And the power pulls and tears inside of her, too great for one person to hold, so she gives the power back to the realm. And she's glowing white, which is amazing because we go back to the original Magik miniseries. Like, she couldn't even make a tree grow or a plant blossom. And so, I don't know if she's going to come back to Earth with white powers now, maybe not her Dark Child powers, or is this just a one-time only thing? I guess we'll find out when they all return for the Rise of Powers of X, and this series gets recapped in a sentence or two. New grass emerges, soft winds envelop them, because I also suspect Typhoid Mary and Kingpin never talk about this. The power sinks into the soul like water in the desert. New life is all the death. She cannot bring them back. A memory of an acorn flickers through her mind. Magik once tried to make a tree grow. Oh, hey, yeah, that's right. They recap it. Now thousands awake on her command. The last of the enemy falls in the distance. There's a lot of caption boxes in this, which is fun. But Magik's eyes are on Mary, searching through the bodies on the ground. She feels her agony like it is her own, as we see Volnos. Dust has found Curse. Curse does not stir. But Sorara prays. And now I'm a jerk because I'm realizing Sorara is Dust. And there is still hope in her heart. Magik sees the moment Saturnine shows she has lost. And Saturnine says, I can feel your eyes on me. Curse gave you the source, the little fool. And then you gave it away. You're a fool too, Magik. Which Ilyana says back in her own body, I guess. I gave back what you took from the realm, Saturnine, nothing more. Saturnines are already gone. Magik's words do not reach her. She would not have understood them if they did. There is a victory, but there is triumph. Magik sees the question in Mary's eyes. Danny sees the question in Magik's eyes. But she cannot bring the dead back. And the realm sighs with relief. A few days later, a future has returned to the Vanaheim. It is in the wind, in the water, in the very air they breathe. The Vanir mourn their fallen, but life has returned to the realm. And we see as Curse is sitting on Thor's shoulders, which is cute. And she's using his winged wings on his helmet as handlebars. No, actually, no, she's holding his hair as handlebars, so sure. Life and laughter. And everyone's just catching up on everything. The lady Farhair, Frisia, is talking to Danny and Ilyana. And for all intents and purposes, Korkola is abandoned. Midgard is not a safe place for mutants at the moment. You are being hunted. Ilyana says, this is precisely why we need to return Freya. And Danny says, when our people fight, we fight with them. The mutants do not ask about the future. They know it would not make any difference. So everyone gathers in a circle. Chris is like, why do they call you a king? Well, I am king of Asgard. Yeah, I don't see it. Maybe like a court jester or like a groom of the stool. Like, sure. And so everyone's getting like continue being in a big circle. They're talking. Thor's like, until next time, my friend. Sif. On her king's orders, Sif sends them home. They return to another fight, another kind of war, and another venture. The end. And then there's a final note. Rebirth. Annotated by Frida Frostborn, current head librarian of the Library of Prophecy. I rate this that the Library of Prophecy turns into a library of unreliable histories. Most libraries are, to be fair, which is fun. In the days after the rebirth for our realm, I had the honor of consulting the mutants about the events that occurred before and during the battle. I asked him about specific terms and what we consider the most accurate of our recorded prophecies. Together, we managed to clarify the significance of several previously unknown stanzas. Yet some remain shrouded in mystery. Goddard once spent a month writing about the clay pigeons. We believe that would be pertinent to the battle, but other than accidentally knocking out two guards in the hours before the war, we cannot see how they played a major part in the conflict. Therein lies the problem of prophecy. Its purpose, assuming one subscribes to the idea that there is one, is about as hard to spot as a singular raindrop in a storm. Yet it is what I do. I asked the mutants if they wanted me to consult their futures before they return home. Lady Mary answered she would rather sit through a recreational root canal. I do not know exactly what that means, but she seems to speak for them all. I am relieved, though our future stretches before us once more, theirs is clouded, and when I look into it, I do not understand the images I see. A white room, an island lonely, the anger and hurt of a family found, which I imagine the family found is all mutants. The island lonely is, of course, Coca-Cola by itself, and the white room is where the majority of the mutants are. And so this up next is Alpha Flight 4, Astonishing Iceman 4, Children of the Vault 4, Dark X-Men 4, Jean Grey 4, Immortal X-Men 17, Uncanny Spider-Man 4, which actually had a cameo, non-speaking cameo for Kate Pryde from the Hellfire Gala. No, I'm sorry. That was X-Men Blue. No Kate Pryde in Uncanny Spider-Man 4. Wolverine 39, Invincible Iron Man 12, Miss Marvel, The New Mutant 4 that we just did a review for. Realm of X4, Alpha Flight 5, and X-Men 29, which I think are out this week. That's today's Sunday. And that, everyone's Realm of 4, or Realm of X issue 4, and not a bad series. I mean, end of the day, it's going to be highly missable. But, you know, when people look at Fall of X and they're writing character where characters were, you're going to be able to put Magik, Danny, Meryl, Dust, Typhoid Mary, hyphen, Realm of X, and be like, which was that one? Like, it didn't really matter. Magik had white powers for a minute and then teleported back to Earth and probably didn't have them anymore. And then when she asks Kate, what happened to you during the Fall of X? She would be like, I murdered a bunch of Orcus people. And then Magik's going to be like, oh, I brought life to people. Actually, no, maybe she will do that conversation because those are opposing forces. And then maybe Ilyana would be Kate's light and Kate will finally date Ilyana. And then Katyana shippers can finally know peace in their heart. I just want them on page together again as it's been way too long. I mentioned how I miss Kitty Pryde and Beast being best friends, and had a nice Twitter exchange with JD about how he believes that they haven't been together since Uncanny X-Men 600, and I bet that is true because he's just been a mad scientist since then, and she's been a Red Queen and or leader of X-Men Gold. So yeah, they just wouldn't have crossed paths at all. So what an era we're closing the book on and going to start a new one under Tom Brevolt's editorial oversight. And oversight feels like it has such a negative connotation. Purview? Yeah, I guess that'd be the other word for what it would be. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for listening. Um, See, we're trying to take of scheduling notes. We finished Inferno finally. So, gonna see. Oh, yeah, X-Men 27. So, as soon as I read that, I'm gonna do the cover or the review episode for that. And we'll start doing What If comics. As I don't think we're going to need to do 3 issues. I probably won't review the What If TV series, but unless there's some X-Men content, but I can't imagine we're going to get X-Men content before X-Men 97. Though that would be amazing. But yeah, I'm excited about the 4 issues of What If I picked out. I just went with the very first 4 issues of What If that I own in my Shadow and Flame and Magic collection. So thank you everyone for listening. If you want to follow me, you can do so through the blog at shadowandflameofmagic.com. My daily writings on Twitter or YouTube. I'm making daily videos, which are actually being seen by a lot. So if there's crossover of the podcast, thank you so much, everyone who's been watching. Been pleasantly surprised with the numbers, which then you're probably gonna be like, well, let me check out these numbers. You're gonna be like, you're excited about these numbers? And I'll be like, heck yeah, yeah. So guess at what number you think that the views are, and then go there and be pleasantly surprised or add to the view count to get to the number you thought it was. But you can do that on Twitter and YouTube at Jacko SII. Same name over at Instagram, which I don't do anything over there. And Blue Sky, which I post the links to the podcasts that I do on Twitter. So, but if anything ever happens to Twitter, Blue Sky would be the boat we go to, I suppose. But I do try to make a point. I mean, you would never know this unless you look at the minute marks. But I do post on Blue Sky first, and then I post on Twitter because I don't know. I forget the motivation now, but I'm pretty sure it was simply amazing. It was like we're gonna do this more, and they're like, "Oh, no one followed us," and so I was like, "Oh no, I'm sorry." Like, it's just there's more people there. It reminds me of the Joe Quesada board and the what was the splinter group called? Genius. And I just prefer the Joe Quesada board. There's just more people to interact with. But I love the core people of the Bad Genius message board. So, it's like, well, I love the core people, but I also sort of like the idea of just random people showing up and being like, hello, new potential friend. Um, which I got from Ryan Guy from Turtle Soup, and how he's like, 'cause I forget the thought exercise they were trying to pose, him and Eric, about like, would you rather be on a boat with three friends or three strangers? And which, and I guess this is supposed to be telling of like, oh, I want to talk to three people on a boat at all. But Ryan's like, well, three strangers, there's potential for three new friends. It's like, oh, I wish I had that attitude. At work, we're going to have a Christmas party relatively soon, and with my social anxiety, I'm just like, oh, like even when it's just like in a conference room potluck, I'm just like, I'd rather not sit here for too long. I just, I don't know. Well, that and when you're in a conference room, it's just a lot of noise, and it creates like a white noise effect, and so I can't really distinguish things, and so people who are right next to me are not yelling into my ear, so I'm just like, I think I'm hearing what you're saying, but also it's a lot of distraction. I don't know, sensory overload, I guess. But I don't know. So clearly, I'm anxious about this Christmas party thing. So, but they should all be okay, as they're all always okay. But that's anxiety. It'd be nice to be able to just turn that off. And I'm ending on that note because now I'm so cautious about it. Well, all right, everyone. So I will talk at you next time. Bye.